And now your host of Where's My Parachute? It's Steve LaMure.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
How's it going?
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Happy to be here.
Charlie.
Yeah, what's up?
My name is Steve LaMure. This is Where's Your Parachute? Where's Your Parachute is a metaphor. Thank you, Gabe, for the risks that entrepreneurs often take when they jump out the window and realize, or jump into a new business and realize they don't have a parachute on. So we're going to hopefully help out some budding entrepreneurs and maybe some entrepreneurs that decide they don't want to be entrepreneurs, weren't meant to be entrepreneurs, talking to folks. And today we have, there's a delay. It's not working.
Oh, no.
Oh, well.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, thank
Sorry,
you.
try that again.
All right, here we go. And today we have awesome Gabe Abshire, CEO of Utility Concierge. And I do have to admit that Gabe and I are super good friends, so this might get a little bit off track today.
Yeah, I think so.
And I got Charlie Meyer here, my sidekick, with us.
Yep, sidekick Charlie Meyer here.
Well, welcome, Gabe.
Hey, happy to be here, Steve.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for my, not sure what to call that intro, devilish, evil.
What
There it is.
intro?
There-
What intro?
There it is
one.
again.
Yeah, thanks.
So I've got a new toy that I'm
Right.
going to mess with here.
Maddie,
so,
feel free to cut that off anytime you want.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. yeah.
I'll cut his mic any time as well.
There we go.
Just let us know.
And I got Matt in the box helping us out, too.
How's it
Thank
going,
you, and
guys?
welcome,
Happy to have
Matt.
you in.
Thank you, thank you. And we're at the headquarters of Real News PR in Lincoln Center in Dallas, Texas.
It's an amazing space. They've got, rooms that you can do all these live broadcasts from. It's pretty cool. So excited to be here on your inaugural show.
And there's
of Where's
the
My Parachute?
And there's the plug for Mr. Crilly.
Jeff Crilly of Real News PR.
Gabe, tell us about your company. What do you guys do at Utility Concierge?
So we do a lot of things at Utility Concierge. It's funny nowadays. It seems like we're getting into more and more things, but our core business is very simply we help people when they're moving into a new home, right? So, Charlie, when's the last time that you moved?
About a year and a half ago.
Okay. How was your experience with setting up your utilities and your home service?
Well, I
Charlie moved into his van.
I did, yeah.
Yes.
I told the city of Denton that my van was going to be at a certain street, and
Okay.
no, I
got
moved into an
permits for that?
apartment. I moved into an apartment, and I just I called the utility company and told them that I would be there, and then, I mean, I feel like with an apartment it's pretty easy. With a home, it's far different, isn't it?
A little bit easier in the apartment, but you had to call the city of Denton,
Mm-hmm, I did.
right? And then you probably had to figure out what you're going to do for your internet.
Yes, actually,
Yeah.
yeah. I just let my roommates take care of that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
we divided and conquered.
Perfect. So that question backfired on me. So,
I'm so sorry.
thanks so
But-
much, Charlie. Appreciate
You're welcome.
it.
Yeah. Anyway, so
But most of the time, people have a very emotional reaction to that, right? They're moving to a house.
It's annoying.
Stressful. They finally found their house. They're trying to get all their stuff into the house. And the last thing they want to worry about is setting up their home services and utilities, waiting on hold. You don't have elevator music. That'd be a cool one. Waiting on
I
hold,
don't
getting
think
wrong
so.
information, and trying to compare all the prices. So that's what we do. Really simply, we spend some time getting to know the customer, and we ask them what their needs are for their home services. They let us know what they like, what they don't like. We present them the options that are available in their area, and they say, I want this, this, and that, and we go to work making the connections.
and so that covers internet, electricity, utilities as well.
Yeah, any home service. So
How about
water,
security systems, Gabe?
For sure, yeah. We definitely do security and home automation.
How about pool cleaning services, Gabe?
We are not offering third-party referrals right now. We're working on an amazing system to get that going. But no more pool cleaning.
Oh, did you do that in the
We used to,
previous-
yeah, we used to. Thanks for that.
Gabe, and tell me how did you do it? I mean, you were born an entrepreneur? You popped out, said, "Mom, Dad, I'm going to start a company and be a billionaire."
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Mom, Dad, they're charging too much for that aspirin. Let's see if we can make the albatross.
Let's negotiate
on
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
No, so I started Utility Concierge in 2009, but before that, I had a company that did satellite installations for Dish Network and DirecTV.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of through that process, we, saw the need for being able to help people when they're moving into a new home. We'd go to install the satellite system, and they'd have their TV and no internet, or their TV and no power, or their power and no TV, just with all the confusion. And so in 2009, we launched Utility Concierge with the kind of mission of, hey, send me your people, and instead of send me your people and we'll sell them something, send me your people and we'll help them through a very difficult time in their life, and we'll provide them options, and all in return making our referral partners look good.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that sounds like it was a brilliant idea at the right time in the market, and that you're super smart and everything went smooth. Everything went smooth.
Smooth as could be.
No bumps.
No, so we started kind of kicking the idea around, and the idea came around in 2008, and so we started in 2009, and so it was definitely a slow time in the market.
Yep.
But I think we're kind of seeing the rewards of that now, just the fact we've built a lot. And so it was definitely slow going, right? I mean, when we first started, the market wasn't great, but we were able to get in and really build some relationships with the right people, and we're kind of seeing the rewards of that now.
Okay. Right on. So back to the entrepreneur question. I mean, did you feel from a certain age or a certain time in your life or a certain event that you felt like you were going to run your own company, you were going to own your own company or start a company? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We do a vision module with all the new people that started Utility Concierge, and I'll talk about this a little bit. But I think early on, like when I was in high school, I did things with the newspaper and things like that, and the yearbook. And I think my earliest memory, I think I wanted to be a lawyer. That was probably my first thing I wanted to do. But then I also just remember having a memory of wanting to kind of have my hands in everything and have multiple different businesses and being able to help people with lots of different products and services. And so it's kind of where we're at now, right? We help facilitate the moving process for people on something that people may not think is a big deal, but it's probably top 5 in a moving process of most stressful things to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So talk to us about risk, since this is where's my parachute?
Where's my parachute?
Where my parachute go? Tell me a time where you just said I'm in, and then you turned around and went, you don't have one.
Yeah, no, I do. No, I do. I think probably in 2004 when I started the home security company, the person I was working for, and this was right out of college. So out of college, I waited tables and I started selling satellites for a guy out of Mesquite. Worked for him for a couple of years, and he had a sales organization. So he was, I was the phone salesperson, right? You have a dialer, and that dialer would run, and people would say yes and want a satellite. So they'd either call me or I'd call them back. And it's amazing how many people want to buy a satellite at 4 a.m. And so literally
that's when I buy like my boots and stuff like that.
I know, before Amazon and Zappos.
I got some great sunglasses at 4 a.m. that I can see fish.
Yeah, well, wow. Some
blockers. What are they called?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Some coasters.
Thank you, Charlie.
Where was I?
Oh, sorry, I got you off track.
Yeah, we're talking about fish now.
4 o'clock in the morning, people buy satellite systems.
Yeah, so I was basically the sales department for that. I'd sold satellites anywhere and everywhere you can imagine, and unfortunately, the gentleman I was working for passed away, and so that was kind of a turning point. And I could have walked away and just went and did something else, but I paid off all of his debt and basically just kind of took the satellite dealership and we moved in a different direction. And so I would say that's probably a big point where I just kind of jumped off the cliff, right? I mean, it's not like I had a bunch of money to start it.
So go ahead, Charlie.
When you say a different direction, what do you mean?
So it was a sales organization. So it was, let's spend all this money and hope we get sales out of it. And I changed that model and I went to work for Dish Network and DirecTV, and we did their installs. So they would give us their overflow, and so we just had to build an infrastructure of technicians and processes and systems, and they would feed the work into us.
Gotcha.
So you could build a business out of it.
Real similar to what you've now done here, right?
Yeah, I mean, we
with the real estate agents bringing your leads.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that was a big jumping off point. I had no clue what I was doing, but I knew that the numbers made sense where I could build a model, and I knew that we at least wouldn't lose money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. So that sounds a little bit like my experience. I mean, that was almost a forced situation, right? You're an employee, and the owner of your company passes away. Oh, we're screwed.
Maddie, please don't kick us out.
Here we go.
Well done. Well done.
There we go. I had to use one of those.
Sorry.
So
We had to get one of those in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know it. I got more to come, folks.
Yeah.
Don't, just stay here. I'll be here for another 20 minutes. So now you had me, and now I got off track. It sounds
talking about when you jumped off the
similar
cliff
to
to
me,
start
where
your business.
it's like you were an employee. Your employer dies, and you either you lose your job or and go find another one, or you. So I mean, in essence, you got fired that day, and
yeah,
took
I think
over
I
business.
took advantage of the opportunity. I mean, I think I did the right thing. We paid off the debt, and really just kind of took the dealership and went in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that's probably that was my first "Where's my parachute" moment.
Yeah, it's it's super interesting to me how many entrepreneurs that I think when I'm out talking to folks and meeting people and through EO that it was almost a forced deal. It was almost it was a situation like that, or they got fired from a job, or a company didn't like the product that they had come up with, and they were going to have to go jump onto another team, and they just said forget about it, or or they're forced to, right? The fear of not having income or not having a job or losing the pride that you have in this product it overcomes
Yeah, I think one of the unique thing about entrepreneurs, I think they see things differently, right? I mean, they see the opportunity and they focus on the opportunity more than the fear.
They
right?
focus all
Isn't
on
that
the
called
opportunity.
vision?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think they can see it.
It's called stupidity a lot of times.
Yeah, they can see the end result, but they have problems seeing everything in the middle. I think that's a lot of times where entrepreneurs run into troubles. They see the opportunity and think it's easy, but once you get into it, that's kind of when all the challenges happen.
Well, I want to be able on the show to talk about some of the challenges and some of the things you do differently. So think about that, because it's such a new hot buzzword, right? Everybody, the millennials and the young guys coming out of college, they all want to start their own company. They all hear the Richard Branson story. They all hear the Google and the Facebook, Zuckerberg, and all they hear these stories, and man, and plus like venture and private equity and first round funding and all these things are like these cool buzzwords. So everybody wants to start or run or everybody wants to be a billionaire, like the song says, right? Whatever that song is.
And I think it's easier.
I don't think that's true.
It's easier nowadays. I mean, this is a crazy example, but just to kind of maybe put the whole internet and social media thing in example, I was buying a suit for Andrew yesterday, and the credit card machine was having some issues, and the lady said, "Hey, it's like the old Nintendos. You just have to, take the card out and put it back in real slow and blow on it." So everyone, you know what that is. You're probably not even old enough to know what that is. Steve, you know what that is. Maddie, have you ever blown into a Nintendo?
Yeah, of course. I grew up on that.
How did that? Everyone knows about it. And there was
Zach's blown into a Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think everybody we know
Everyone's
is
blown
blown a
into
Nintendo.
Yeah, totally.
Hands are being raised.
There was no internet back then, no social media, but everyone knows about it, right?
You learned it from your friends or something. They learned it from somebody. I don't know where it started.
You're in the middle of a Tecmo Bowl game and it screws
the
up.
CEO of Nintendo.
No,
that was his parachute moment. Man.
Actually,
he figured it out.
Nintendo specifically said don't do that, but everybody did it anyway.
Oh yeah, and you couldn't just blow. You had to blow and then put the hot air on it, right?
Right. Yeah, you had to blow and you had to give it a quick back and
exactly.
forth. And
Okay,
then
all right, we got to get back on
So I don't
track.
know if that relates,
this
but
is going a very different direction right now than I want it to go. Thank you all very much.
So I don't know if that relates, but it's a lot easier for people to be an entrepreneur right now. I mean, I think with the the likes and the audiences and the followings and people buying followers and
because you don't have to go get
a
a file cabinet, you don't have to go get office space day one, you don't have to go get a fax machine and a giant copier and put your phone systems in and all that. Right?
You can do it part time.
You can do it right on this device right here. You can run everything. You can print from here. You can edit from here. I mean, I agree.
Technology basically allows for more lean businesses.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this.
less of a parachute moment. I mean, you can start it for $500.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and you can chime in. But so you can start it for less, and you've got more at your fingertips, and you're more streamlined. So are more companies successful now because it's easier, or you have it at your fingertips, or do the same amount? Do we still lose the same amount of companies that we would prior to innovation?
I would imagine so, because at the core of any business, there is just good business sense, and no amount of technology will change that. And if you don't know how to run a business from the get-go, you can start businesses all day long, and you can start from your phone, from your laptop. But the way that I see it is, if you don't have just that core business sense, or you're just crazy, then it will never flourish in anything
I disagree with the crazy. A lot of the crazies do it.
No, I mean,
Look at Gabe.
Or if you don't have, the right team around you.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So there was a Jeff Crilly interview you did, I think, in 2015, in which you said that you wanted to, at the very beginning of Utility Concierge, have hired more managers early on. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
yes, I do actually.
So that's sort of about like surrounding yourself with that right team. Why did you say that? Why did you want to have had more managers at the very beginning?
Yeah, I mean, if you would probably ask, I know in the question,
I'm there too.
what would you have done differently? Mm-hmm. And that question's been asked quite a bit, right? I think we learned a lot of things along the way that really make our company unique and special today. But I think we would have grown faster if I would have surrounded myself with a team early on, right? So I really didn't have anyone from 2004 to 3 years ago where I hired my COO, right? So I had employees, but I had no management team, leadership team, or things like that.
Wow.
And I had managers within the company, but no leadership team. That'd probably be the best example.
Okay. Yeah. So and let me guess some of the reasons, right? You didn't have the money to pay them. You didn't know how to necessarily find them. You were worried about overhead and cash flow, and you weren't sure if the whole damn thing was going to work anyways. And I mean, those are a lot. Are those some of those the questions? Let me ask you.
Yeah, for sure. I think having a good financial model, having a good foundation to scale the business. I mean, we're still figuring it out, and so to jump out of the plane and hire someone earlier on would have been a where's my parachute moment.
Yeah. So from my experience, I did that. I did it 3 times. I got burned 3 times on people that, I didn't feel like I had the money to do it. I was worried about overhead, but I knew I needed some structure. And, I had a 6-month gig with 3 different people and didn't work out at all.
Is this specifically at Nominus or otherwise?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which also proved to me that I agree with you. I mean, do it sooner, quicker, have your money lined up and try and make sure that it's the right person, because you grow exponentially as opposed to growing one little account at a time.
Sure, and making sure that everyone you bring on is aligned and y'all are all rowing in the same direction. I would say the biggest thing that's had the most impact on me in the last 3 years is the same as yours.
Right.
So Gabe, tell us unbelievably enough, that's one of the questions we ask our guests here. Right. Where's your parachute, Gabe? So tell us about your unique ability.
So
I know some of them, by the way.
Yeah, so I think I've struggled to try to define it. But in my company, we've adopted EOS, and so I'm in the visionary role.
EOS?
EOS is an entrepreneur operating system.
Okay.
And that it talks a lot about unique abilities and having your right organizational chart and really people.
And real quick, if you're using EOS in your company, all your employees should know that you're using EOS, right?
Exactly.
Thank you, Charlie.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Well, your employees definitely should have read Traction and they know what EOS is.
Even our newer employees, Charlie.
They should get it the first day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
hang on, let me text.
All on the same page here.
Let me text my to get you a copy of
Traction. It's your unique abilities are anything that lights you up, that gives you passion, that gives you motivation, and the things that you're not good at are the things that suck that energy out of you, right? So for me, I love talking about ideas. I love innovative ideas, coming up with new ideas. I mean, I can't go throughout the day without telling somebody something. They're probably like, stop annoying me. I mean, but that's what I love doing. That lights me up. That gets me excited. Managing people down to the numbers in general, getting to the nitty gritty in a model it does not drain me. Seeing the end result makes me excited. But so
you come up with the idea and then you take it all the way through to completion.
No, definitely not. That completion stuff is is definitely where you need the team, that people, someone around you that really enjoys doing that. But that would be my biggest, and that wraps into not having a team around me, is because I didn't understand it. I thought I had to do it all myself, right? I had to do, the sales, the marketing, the bookkeeping, the payroll, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
furthest
clearly
thing from
you
the
don't do
truth.
bookkeeping well. So, another unique ability, I think, just knowing you is your ability to relate to people and keep that relationship going, right? Like just hang out. I mean, I've seen you with prospective clients and different folks, and you make people feel really comfortable and they can talk to you. Which I'm really glad. You didn't know we're talking about them though.
But yeah, if you would say, things I would have done different or things I would have realized earlier, I would say know what your unique ability is and get better at that.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's like the concept.
So playing to your strengths, basically.
Yeah, if your kid comes home from school with 3 A's, a B, and a C, what do you need to focus on?
Right.
What do you need to focus on, Charlie?
I mean, I would assume that's the C thing. But, I mean, what you're saying is because the unique ability is in the A's. So
Right.
focus on that.
Right. I mean, he's got 4 A's, a B, and a C. Why focus on obviously that C doesn't, unless it's something serious, that C doesn't light him up. That doesn't give him energy, right? So focus on things that he's passionate about, and then figure that out, and then surround yourself with people that their passion, their unique ability isn't yours, right? Maybe they share some of it, but, a model or numbers or processes and systems, that kind of stuff lights them up. Me,
I love that concept of focus on their A's, don't focus on the C. I think it's really true, and you have to flip your mindset around, right? Because everybody, all parents would focus on the C. Well, they got the A's down. Let's focus on the C. It's like focus on the A's, man.
Let's get the A's better.
It's difficult
let's make
to
master that.
But as a manager, as an owner of a business, as an entrepreneur, a lot of times it's hard to find out what your team's A's are.
Well, I agree.
With that, figuring out what your A is, figuring out what your unique ability is there a process you go through? Is that part of the EOS?
There's some quizzes, there's some things to kind of stack rank you on where you're at. There for sure is a process that you take a survey and it kind of tells you where you are. We use a product called Culture Index. Culture Index.
I wasn't sure if that's where you were going.
Index.
Yes,
Okay.
and that tells us where it measures two things: the way you were born, the way you naturally are.
The way you were born?
The way you were born.
What is
from
it?
the age of 12 or 13, I think the number is you are who you are.
Okay.
And so who you are, at the core, and who you're trying to be at work, right? And so that really flushes out what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah, they'll have to become a sponsor of this digital broadcast.
Yeah, it's 2
someday
plugs already. 3 plugs.
And we're not even being paid for it yet.
Yeah,
And
Jeff Grilly, EOS, Mark Winters, and Mark Boland
Culture
with
Index.
Culture Index.
And we haven't even talked about my business yet. Oh, wait. We don't get to do that on this show.
Well, you should. You should carve some time out of the 5 minutes we have left.
All right, let's get into some good stuff. Most embarrassing moment. Do you have one that stands out business wise where you just, man, you turned bright red and you went, oh, that's gonna hurt for a while?
This one?
Other than the show and the fact that I decided to go live, no, I don't think I think I may have been nervous, but I don't really try to take myself too seriously.
All right, well, get vulnerable. Get vulnerable then and tell us about personal. Good
embarrassing person
moment.
time.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Where you just like
in
really
Louisiana
messed
and you
up.
fell down duck hunting or
on the turkey farm.
No, he's going deep, folks, and we're gonna have it out. Yes.
All right, I'm now curious.
Wow.
No, man.
All right, tell me.
I'm sorry. I wish I had these two.
That's right.
I don't.
That's why I sent them to you earlier.
I know.
So here's one. What's the biggest challenge facing you guys right now? I think I know what it is, actually.
I'm sure you do. I would say, challenge or opportunity is just scale. I think our model works. We've proven that, and we need to hire more people, and we need to get more office space. Yeah, for sure. It's been a challenge over the past year. Fortunately, we just Hired a recruiter.
Yeah.
She's 2 months in, and she's doing awesome.
And would you have done that sooner?
Yeah, I think so. But I think we're doing it right. I mean, we had to get to a certain point to where we could build out the model. We knew that we had to hire, 60 people this year.
Yeah. So now I know your company from the $5,000 thing that you guys did.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that? Is that still something that you offer?
Yeah, we're working in the process.
Sorry, can you tell us a little bit about what that means? Like, what is that? What is the $5,000 thing?
Oh yeah. So basically, we came up with this idea to do a publicity stunt, and not a stunt, but just market it that look, we need to hire 60 people this year, and we're willing to pay you to leave, right? So the headline was, CEO pays you $5,000 to leave, but behind the scenes, it's A, you got to go through our hiring process, right? B, you've got to go through 2 weeks of training, and C, you've got to pass a final with a 95 or above.
Gotcha.
Oh, there you go. So Charlie, I guarantee you, he's been staring at you because he's going to go apply for this job.
He's like, man, I got a little vibes like, hey, I need $5,000.
Here's the problem: he can't get 95 on it.
It's a lot cheaper to pay you $5,000 to ask you.
And it's interesting because in an interview that you did with someone, you said the $5,000 is actually less expensive than a bad hire.
Oh, absolutely.
What would you say? No, let's not even call it a bad hire. Let's say you go through the training you go through the recruiting process, training process. You get them hired up. They work for you for 3 or 4 months, and then they leave. And then obviously you have to duplicate that. What do you think that costs a company? I mean, do you think that's half of a annual salary, or a third, or 2
I think the number
years?
is that it's
I know they have some scientific
three or
stuff.
4 times the monthly salary.
The monthly.
But I think it's hard to tell. I mean, every business is different. I mean, we can break it down to a per lead number.
I mean, you have to really start getting into what those numbers are, right? Like, so what your recruiter makes $100,000, whatever, $100,000 a year, so $25,000 a quarter, and how many hires do they make in a quarter? And then that one person would be that percentage of just that recruiter's salary, right?
Yeah, and then there's the things you can't tie back to numbers, right? The impact it has on your culture, right? If you make a bad hire, what's the damage that it can do to your culture, even in the small time, if you let them go quickly, right? But if they stay on board, the long-term damage that they can do to the culture, I think, is more expensive than the actual dollar.
Yeah, they call them rats or
cancers.
They call them the rats or the terrorists in your organization.
Yeah.
The terrorist makes a lot of money and doesn't think that you can fire him, so he takes advantage.
Right.
And the rat's the one that doesn't buy into anything and doesn't make any money. They're easy to fire, but the terrorists aren't.
Yeah, it's hard to fire top producers.
So Gabe, real quick, we've got a couple of minutes to wrap up here. I wanted to ask you, if somebody came to you, whether you know them or not, but they came to you and they had to have a parachute on, what's your number one advice?
It's probably the opposite of what your show is, right? But I would say, imagine the worst case scenario. And if you can live with the worst case scenario, don't look back, don't be scared, go 100%, right? So if you have an idea and you want to go for it, right? I mean, you're going to risk some money, you're going to risk your job, you're going to risk your reputation, maybe the livelihood of your family. But picture the worst case scenario. What if it didn't work out? What if I did it for a year and I didn't make any money? Or what if I did it for 6 months and it flopped? What's the worst case scenario?
Right.
And once you're good with that, then there's no need to look back. Look forward, no fear, give it all, leave it all out on the field, and rock and roll.
Awesome.
That's really interesting.
Plug for us. We try and find people really super cool office space. Tell me something about your office environment that is unique to you guys or projects your culture, your vision, your values. Tell me about that.
So we had an amazing commercial real estate brokerage find our place. So we moved two years ago, and thank God I did hire our COO 3 years ago, because he didn't have to talk me into moving, but we moved from like a garage, basically. It's been for a warehouse, now it's a garage. I'm sure it's going to go down to a storage shed, but a really, really bad spot to a beautiful spot. And having that team around me to say, okay, look, here's the numbers. Gabe, are you willing to add $75 a month per employee once we get the scale to have this office space? No brainer, right?
Yeah.
Numbers guy makes him lights them up, makes them feel good. Me, I had to find the space, walk into the space, and really have an emotional feeling to know, hey, this is going to work, right? So the cool thing about our space is that this amazing company called Dominus Commercial found it, and it was the only empty space in our building had never been occupied. So it was a blank canvas.
Nice.
And so I really got to go in there and design the whole place to fit our culture, right? So we talked about EOS. Every single one of our conference rooms are named after a process in EOS.
Interesting.
We've got a people room where people can go and relax. We have an issues room where people can go and discuss issues or opportunities. A great kitchen because we love to feed our team members, and an amazing conference room that has all glass, and that's the traction room. That's where all the components of EOS come together, and it's all glass. Everybody can see in. The logos on the wall, all of our core values are around it. So
you think that's
I love my space.
I mean, you think it's pretty important? I mean, like when you moved from where you were to where you are now, was there like a significant change in attitude, productivity, et cetera?
Oh my gosh, yes. We had our quarterly kickoff meeting yesterday, and we did a look back. We did a 3-year look back and just talked about all the things that were wrong with the office. I mean, we had 2 bathrooms for about 24 people.
Nice.
Yeah.
The AC would get up, the heat would get up to about 82 in the summer.
Yeah, you were in a bad spot.
It was horrible, right? And so, yeah, it has a huge impact on culture, morale, partner. There's no way that I would bring our partners into our old space. We built that conference room so we can have real estate professionals come in and use it as training, but that's probably one of the biggest compliments we get is that, through the hiring process, through the partners, is this, you just walk in and the vibe, the feeling is awesome.
Yeah, I just want to find out from all our guests what part of that, because that's what I'm involved in. What part of that? How important is that to the business? Is that? I mean, I know talent, right? It's about the people. It's about the people. How much is also about the real estate and or the space that you're in order to produce? And so it'll be interesting to hear all those comments. But
I think it's really important. Yeah. People they've got to feel good coming into the space, right? I mean, regardless what you do, if you need a space where you're going to have high traffic, or if you never see a customer, your people is what's the most important thing. So they spend more time at work than they do at home. Yeah. Right. So they got to feel good and excited about coming in.
Yeah. Cool. Do you ever feel nostalgic about the horrific conditions that you were in beforehand?
No, not at all. In fact, we're 2 years into a 5-year lease, and we're looking to get a bigger space, which again blows me away.
Knights of the Round Table, baby.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey, that puts us at our time limit for today, Gabe. And having you come in was awesome. Listening to your story. Again, I know you, I've known you, but just hearing your whole story and where you're at right now, what you've done, and the people that you've surrounded yourself with, it's super, super exciting. And I really appreciate sharing some of that insight with us, and hopefully it gives some of those folks out there something they can take away.
I love it, man. Appreciate you having me on the show. And where's your parachute? Maybe you don't have one.
Maybe you don't have one. Charlie, thanks a lot. Matt, thanks so much for hitting the boards. Talk to you guys soon.
All right.